Welcome to Late IHP Show with your 5D mystic, Maria, or Magic Mary, like others like to call me. We're going to continue chit-chatting about the spiritual masters, the enlightened ones, those who know how to walk a walk and talk a talk, which is why we can teach forgiveness, humility, and compassion. So when you are a self-agent and you're empowered and you know how to walk in the footsteps of a person named Jesus and Buddha and all of the spiritual masters and enlightened ones, and you are in communion with God and Source and Akash and consciousness and all of it, I'm presence, you'll know how easy it is to spot the true leaders and then to spot the fake ones that are there for the children who don't want to heal their 3-year-old. You're an inside out, and your embodied brain is what comes first. FYI, I support people for spiritual growth, which is why they also do personal growth. So we love anger, and we love sadness, and we love, this is not a figure of speech, we love getting to know ourselves. So we love anger and sadness. Fear is the most challenging to master as an Akashic record reader and the person who's bringing you the human elements, the spiritual and spirituality elements, and showing you how science is right about some things. There's no demons inside your brothers and sisters. They are right that we need food. I'm pretty sure, even though I'm only day 9 in my 5D Mystics Skeptic Nutritionist Diary, I already got that. So you actually are doing better, huh? Because that's what happens in a herd when you love each other. It's you learn how to listen to each other, not tell each other what to do. And it's not that type of contempt, self-righteous, or any of the baggage. So when people are yelling at human beings for being imperfect and flawed and saying the suffering word, I say, Buddha, you sat under a tree. That's not doing anything anymore, because they can't actually do integration wholly, completely, if they don't notice their left and right. And then all of this. So the child parts, the first 3 years of life, are implicit memory. And people who don't want to get to know themselves, it's okay, because it's really, really awesome. They will have somewhere to go to. And in the meantime, we get together, the ones of us who do enjoy being in our wholeness. So when you do own your 3-year-old and your 5-year-old and all your child parts and you got your body connected, that's when you are going to be in the enlightened spiritual group of masters and experts. And you might not use the words, but that's the part of why the future humans are here. It's because, well, some of us are mystics and spiritual, so as we are intuitive, we get to channel, and here's our fun galactic beings are with me, other aliens, a bunch of people over here. So in the meantime, though, I'm not channeling them yet. We're going to wait for our tears, and once those are up, we'll find out how I can work with our lives, and you can ask questions, and we can just have group chats together. But the part about walking a walk and talking a talk, like true leadership does, forgiveness is you processing sadness, compassion is you also knowing how to have connectedness and the art of connection as a function of child adult, which is why you have humility, which is why you have self-acceptance. And so while there are people who want to carry humanity's past on a baggage that is weighing down 3D, 4D, it's because they say that's unjust, and with their batons they want to go and punish the other side. So that's actually what is called a trauma charge, and it's not something good because they're all doing bad resilience. So their body is really unhealthy. Furthermore, they don't know how to walk a walk and talk a talk like Jesus taught us, even if they use the word, thank you little butterfly that came its way, or a moth, which is about transformation. So you can see the silver lining beyond that which is darkness, and that's why I'm presence. Masters of Resh, masters of the 8th and 9th chakra, masters of healthy fear. So we have our hearts are open. We smile like Buddha taught us to, and we don't have to do it under a tree. That's why our meditation practices, Resh, are with the mindset of inner growth, Maria. And that's for those who come back. But obviously, in the meantime, you also do it on your own. So when you are walking a walk and talking talk, the grown-ups, the actual grown-ups, teach people how to process that which they will have felt is unfair, unjust. And that's where, from spiritual perspective, what I can tell you is God is perfection. And cosmic karmic balancing takes place, which is why there's never danger for any one of us on Earth to be eaten up by Mother Earth or any of that. When it comes to the other aspect of science, science explains what adaptive child part people do. They harbor resentment, they hold revenge, they will continue to do that which is the shame binding stuff, and they get yuckier by the day, and or whatever it is. We won't be hanging out with each other because that's the part they don't want to hang around healthy self-worth people, because we don't do characterological distinctions. And so if they want to continue, one, with maladaptive patterns of behavior, I'm 45.0 version of Maria, they didn't get any better, the ones who are on Pinocchio's island. So you eventually just lead yourself to have small talk, you enjoy your time, and then with the grown-ups that actually continue to expand consciousness, we move into the future as Arcturians do, and Pleiadians, and Lemurians, and all of us. So the future humans are here, and we are also intuitive, so we don't have any of upset with the scientists who don't believe in us. And we also don't make it into a trending topic that we have a shadow and a light part. Yeah, that's not the truth. The truth is, if you have charges come up and then you have thoughts come up, you want to work with them. Otherwise, you're not using your neuroplasticity agent, the bright side. So they don't like equanimity, the ones who want to continue fighting or running away, meaning cutting people out of their life, and or what was the other one? Fixing or saving. So when you meet spiritual bypassers, they're on off because they will be flipping a switch, and they change teams, and then from one team they're, yes, this is good, to the next team, this one's good, that one's bad. They don't take ownership of that, and then they continue to want people to stand up with them. And you say, we don't take sides because it's not black and white. We're grounded in reality, and we know that the world has a lot of situations going on. So here's where those who believe in themselves and our future humans, like I told you today, sorcerers own their inner child, because we know how to work with water, our emotions. And that's why the mastery of water, we also do want to protect our oceans. We need our oceans, like our earth. So let's make it sustainable. And we're all working to believe in yourself, be yourself. Luminous warriors, attack, Smurfs, Gargamel's in the corner. And we learned how to use our body in ventral vagal state. That's why we're luminous. We love ourselves first. So when you love someone, you'll do anything. No, when you love someone, you will unconditionally love, because that's how it works. The conditions are death do part, sickness and health, better for worse. Doesn't mean you're going to get unhealthy. No, it means you're going to take care of each other the right way. Okay, so empowered people, by the way, that's who I'm talking about. When there's codependent, they can use Terry Real. He helps people to become independent. This has everything to do with the body, not the mind. So it's the body that speaks first. When it's happy to be around people, that's a good sign. When it cringes at people, that's another thing. I'm not going to talk about it. And let's get back to, so forgiveness is easy because you process sadness, anger, fear, and they're all something you enjoy because you love emotions. You see, it's not that you love getting angry, but you love emotions. Oxytocin gene hormone. And people who don't know how to do it, they're not yet using two sides of the brain. The left and right don't work together until you're the one who's able to sit in open-ended inquiry. That's why they say you grow strong, but really do we? We grow curious, yes, because we grow able, that's called good resilience, to reassure our 0-1-year-old. That's why we're the masters of Resh and the 8th and 9th chakra that we've been talking about. So, Resh right here. Okay, so you don't need to sit in a meditative state once you are practiced at being in one in your body with your mind, because you have an integrated brain and the securely attached self, and you're 1-year-old and all of your child parts are yours. Which is why, as Sun Tzu, the art of war, he mentions, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need no fear. You need not fear the result of 100 battles. We don't have enemies, but we have adapted child part people. So unhealthy, insecure people, they don't walk a walk or talk a talk. That's why they can't commit, because their body is unhealthy with their not knowing how to regulate their nervous system. Their body's unhealthy because they don't know how to use their thoughts effectively, or their feelings, because they're not doing the body with the ventral vagal state yet. Furthermore, they don't want it, and that's why they follow some of those people. So with that, you just learn how to handle emotionally immature people, and therefore you know yourself, and you don't need to fear the result, because you will always win over a pathology, because they're not emotionally, mentally, or physically intelligent. So they don't know how to walk a walk or talk a talk. Their body is in distress, not eustress. This is very unfortunate. They are very uninteresting because there's no child inside of them and they're boring, and you leave it alone, and then like Dorian Gray, they wither away. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer defeat. Again, not enemy, I'm switching it up. If you know yourself but not the way of tapping into, so when it comes to people, we're all nervous systems, so they can't lie to you. That's why when I, as a teenager, walked and talk and still do now as a grown-up, 45.0 version of Maria, I now am pretty clear on exactly the guitar string that Dr. Daniel Siegel talked about. I was listening to a person, and this one is the one that I make fun of, one of the many, and I was like, wow, there's a flat line here. Okay, they've completely become left mode alone. What the fuck? This is so boring. I mean, Elsa's more interesting when she's singing in her castle because she's actually for children. This is a human being who's like, it's not even like a good movie. It's more of like, like dry, basically like a piece of paper. And so, yeah, it was absent of everything. But I know who's going to be attracted to the message. Remember that guy that I was flirting with when I was a teenager? Those of you regularly tune in. Yeah, he's the one who said, we can't be together because I'm short. No, you're short. I'm short. He's tall and I'm tall. And it looks bad. So he's a superficial person. That means shallow. It's not interesting to be with shallow people. Shiny in your hiney is what I would say on our podcast. It's like the crab from the Moana. Shiny, and yeah, sure, keep on shining. I mean, the gold is not interesting, actually, because there's nothing inside of it. So gold can be interesting, and it's also uninteresting. What's beautiful is when you're with life, and that's people who are alive inside. So when you meet the ones who know forgiveness, we don't have humanity. Yes, they made mistakes, a lot of them. You all do. We all do. So because we make mistakes, we don't know how to forgive. The ones who are not ready to forgive, there's a group for them, as I was saying. So they don't have to be here. They can go and hang out with Patrick Tian. He's a great trauma therapist for childhood trauma people who are not yet ready to forgive the grown-ups who betrayed them. And so they find that they're capable of being upset and taking their time. I am not upset. I'm very saddened by all those who betrayed me and all of the children of God. Yes, I'm very upset. God knows all about it. I'm also upset at the scientists who belittle those of us of spiritual mysticism because they don't help. But I'm okay because as a grown-up, what I can tell you again is the minute you have a good gut, you will not be buffooned. I have really great ears at this point. I'm an Akashic record reader, and I mastered my physical mastery from the perspective of ears. I'm continuing it. I don't know it all 100%. It's always good to leave yourself the room to remember you don't know everything, because that is what makes you humble. So humility allows you to not say, I know what's going to happen. And also that's why we're open to infinite possibilities, which is why we get to have whatever we want. The most amazing of manifestation techniques, going with the flow. And it is a brilliant, brilliant gift. Oh, there's a future Buddha coming our way, by the way. Maitra, something like that. I read about it. Yeah, I'm like, finally, Buddha. Give me a high five, Buddha. Somebody who's not going to sit under a tree. Hey, Jesus, come on over. Come on, give me a high five. Wait, I got Jesus right here. Let me share. There's Jesus. But I do also have him right here. He's smiling now. And so is Buddha. And there's Buddha. And that's how it works for a 5D person. I can call them up. They can hang around. The galactic beings still want me to, yes, I will let them know that it's so. I will wait for that one. They said it's true. We're going to get to meet them soon. We'll find out, won't we? I'm with another lady who said, well, what happens if we don't know for like 100 more years? You know what? Since time is fickle, you're right, lady. I agree with you. But in the meantime, they're doing awesome. They've decided to hang around. It's not the first time I encounter galactic beings. This is the second, if not third. And there's the other ones over here that came the first. They were one of the first that came to visit me. Then I have astral travel. I was on one of my own spaceships with a bunch of my team. So I have galactic being team members. Oh, and it's really awesome when you meet those who are from your future. Yes, and this is where, remember, we were talking about Akash energy. So when you are in the presence of that which is yourself in the form that you are, like stars, it's a fucking amazing. And then you also get to meet those who are royal, also the stars. So there's a royal galactic being force. They're kind of made, how can I explain this? So has anybody ever played with like silly dough or whatever that is, right? But it's not that. It's more like Ghostbusters. No. What's his name? The green guy. Okay, so Flubber. No, that's another thing. Anyways, long story short, they don't ever separate, and they're like the stars. So I'm thinking they're dark matter, dark energy. Personally, at least I'm going to use those words. And they are royal, and they have a daughter, and that daughter is of not a known sex when she's energetic form, but in this lifetime she's a girl, and when she tends to come to life, she's also a girl in other fairy forms. So I've done an Akashic record reading, and some information came through of all of past lives and stuff that she's been through. So she really didn't want to be a human on Earth. She's like, I really, really liked being on the planet of the fairies with all the elementals. So she likes elementals, but she doesn't like to be on Earth because that's that whole thing of the way down energy for her. And so the family is like, you have no choice. You're royal. You have to go. It's your mission. So she's here on Earth not wanting, but she's doing good. And in the future, basically, she gets on the same ship that I'm going to be on. I won't tell you all of this because there's no need to. But I remember because I'm getting the download, her avatar came to me like that movie Avatar. That's what I began. The download began with these beautiful yellow eyes and a blue body. And I'm like, wow, this is her. She's her higher self. She's here. So she takes me eventually, after all the download information for the person, to the ship. And I recognize it from afar because I still remembered when I saw it when I was getting on it myself with my family, my future husband and children. And so I say, that's my ship. Well, it's not mine, but that's the ship I'm on. That's just and I see, meaning know that the father and mother, the royal, the king and queen, they're like, okay, we need to go get our daughter. She got herself in some other fickle. And really what it is that they keep all the universal galactic laws in place because the ship is actually kind of, have you seen that movie Galaxy, whatever? Which is why the people who don't believe in us mystics, they just say we're woo-woo. Sure, you can use imagination. Again, I'm okay with that because I'm grounded in reality. God, Akash, Source, Animamundi, spiritual, and humans who are smart, emotionally, mentally, and physically, because we're mature, we are 3-year-olds, we're not at odds with any of the words that are on the other side. That's why we don't carry baggage. So yes, our human species made mistakes. Do you remember that we came from caves? All our emotions serve to physically survive. Okay, so when you know the basics, it doesn't change. It's why the truth, it's always the same. The ones who don't like it are the very boring pseudo-life people who are not their true self. They're pretending, and we don't want to deal with fakos because, like my facade friend, they're hypocrites. They'll backstab anyone because, like with King Arthur or any of the stories, insecure people, what are they? Envious, jealous, spiteful, and self-righteous, vindictive. I learned from my mother about a person that it's the story she's watching, Jesus' story. I won't tell it all because I don't remember the specifics, but she told me about who betrayed and why. And actually, before she even said why, I said, this is the reason. Vendetta, huh? For revenge. Yes. Revenge. So people who take revenge, what's sweet about knowing how revenge works? So revenge, you need to have a person who's playing a game. That means you need to have an insecure human being. That means you have to have somebody who doesn't feel that they're fulfilled and whole. So here's the part of where if you're a full-fledged life and you're differentiated, Maria's a 1-year-old. I have a twin, so I know repairing ruptures. I got taught by Jesus, God, Holy Spirit how to be who I am today. My mother, obviously, also. My body, my twin, all my family let me recognize everybody. But my foundation is with the good Christian Catholic upbringing. So by not being a broken child, I consistently knew what it meant to have a guilty conscience. I do it this way because the only little bit of guilt I felt was when I said, hey, God, no Lucifer, just monsters. No, cowards. I was thinking incorrectly. Monsters, grown-ups who are hurting children consistently. That's where I'm at. I don't like any of the monstrous grown-ups. So when I see them, that's when I wish I could basically be something that no person has ever been. So our stories existed for reasons, because again, a person can become irate and can completely lose their shit. That's called anger, and your brain will be offline and you will be a dumbass, because that's exactly why I'm not planning to go back to the ancient history. And those who want to play Russian roulette on screen and pretend to be a grown human being, they have no idea what any kind of true warrior would be like. Because see, the word isn't about violence. The word is actually one that holds a level of, depending on, obviously, if you get the intelligent ones who care, and I have met some of them. And so I do know that thanks to those people, it will all be okay. And the only ones who like to get on screen and chat their mouth off are the same ones who, well, hey, Cusco, what's up? You do anything fascinating today? If you don't know yourself, let me finish. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. And so while some may know their self but not know all of the other side of their teams, so the enemy, for people who think of humans as evil, Knievel, medieval, they're always going to judge that which they don't like. So they don't have a full picture because they're in a charge. You see what I'm saying? And if you don't, it's okay. But the two sides of the brain of Maria work, prefrontal works, compassion works, and peace works, because I'm meditative in here and in here. And when I see someone, I'm going to know if they're emotionally mature or not. And if they're not, I have no fear of them. And that's also because my gut is so good that I won't be near anyone who I remotely, even an inch, feel physically unsafe with. Other than that, anyone who's been emotionally immature, I've had so many different stories that you've all heard. I just don't do anything with emotionally immature people because I feel bad for them. Healing is not a divisive behavior. Abuse is. Thank you, Patrick Chan. And when people want to use their self-righteous, contemptuous batons and not forgive humanity for their mistakes or whatever it is to the smallest or biggest degree, you don't know how to walk a walk, talk a talk, or be leadership-like. In the mouth of a human being who knows what a grown-up is supposed to look like, I'm a grown-up now, 45.0 version. And I'm going to say children don't need to be that traumatized as they used to, but it isn't a perfect science, the parenting thing. A third, attunement, repairing ruptures with people who know how to regulate their nervous system, number one, and who are healed, so they don't carry on from one generation to the next what happened to them. So the younger generation takes all of this seriously. That's why our future is here. 5D collective, it ain't going anywhere. The ones who don't like it, they're there for the 3-year-olds who won't be back online. They harbor resentment, revenge, envy, spite. They will copy every single bit of words that will come out of the mouth of anyone, and there's your siren. They're not a siren, but they are a weak human being, because with their armor, not only are they doing bad distress for their own body, but they're slowly using the dark sides of neuroplasticity until they're shut in and their fantasy land continues to play on a wheelhouse. But because they're getting praised by those millions or whoever it is, they are doing awesome. That's all they wanted, was a family to call home. However, it's Diego's family. You see, this is the one thing about the truth. Again, as Thomas Campbell points out, it is not fragile, and it is made of love. It is not made of fear, the unhealthy kind. Healthy fear is not against our biology. Healthy fear is the smarts of our biology. Your body loves you always. It will shut you down so that you can stop suffering. Basically, it's neuroplasticity again. So if you're continuing to use your brain in a way that is with the amygdala, alert, 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 and you don't learn how to stay in open-ended inquiry, allow yourself to cry it out, get angry out, and do healthy stuff, it's very straightforward why people don't heal. And as Hippocrates pointed out, they say they want it, but then they don't like discipline. Wise men know that know that health is important. It's a richness. So if you are needing somebody to tell you about longevity, we got a guy out there. He's done a great job. But the point is, and I'm not laughing at this thing, I'm just thinking the most precious thing is life itself. Will you realize this now or only on your deathbed? May your decisions be based upon what truly matters and works, not upon your likes and dislikes. Never think in terms of who is doing better, worse than you. The only question is whether you are doing your best. Thank you, Sadhguru. Do not look for the finish line. With life, the journey itself is the destination. So when you have people who are not healed, they continue to want revenge because it's unfair and it's unjust. And when they don't realize that those words coming out of their mouth are a teenager version of themselves, because that's the fight response, then when they also don't realize that they can't handle resh, and that's your depth of awareness, that 50-50. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And your processing of that anger, health is your body. So you can process it because anger is about correction. And fear is about being physically afraid. And sadness is about bonding. But the disgust, the surprise, and the happiness. So when I see people disgusted at things that to me are part of our human history ignorance, that is ill-placed charge. You want to carry humanity's mistakes with 3D frequency. You want to shame them for the rest of their life. So you want to give them what is a scarlet letter, like the book. That's ignorance. And that's buffoonery, and it's called emotional immaturity. So you don't understand how society works or societal culture, which is why I'm a humanities social science major. If you didn't know this, bachelor's degree, political science. And when I read this book, and my master's degree is in international relations and diplomacy, I'm reading a book called Societal Culture, and the way he's describing how it's created, like, so basically everything's fake. Okay, that's good to know. I was wondering about a lot of things, and now I know, because he does this. This is the example he gives of how something begins to become part of our culture. And he also says once something is universally accepted, then it becomes a part of our culture. So now that everybody knows about mystics, intuitive, twin flames, all that, I can talk about it freely. I've always talked about it freely. You all know about when someone thought I had an issue with love, meaning that I had a problem. They gave me a book. That book was because they think that they have to tell me how to be better. You know what Maria did with the book? I didn't like the person in the first place. I didn't say that because I was being polite, as my mother taught me. I wasn't planning on reading the book because I don't like the person. In fact, something's smelly, fishy, like Marv and what's his face in Home Alone. Can you smell that, Marv? It's fish. No, Marv, it's money. Can you smell it again? Something like that, like fish. No, Marv, it's money or some success. So anyways, when you smell something fishy, you don't pinpoint it and speak it out. That's why I'm not mentioning who the person is, because some people like that person. I just knew that they weren't for me, because I, in fact, am very good at spotting those who have likes and dislikes. And I have them too. The difference is I'll tell them to you. And so for me, there's only one God. I use all the words in the book, but it's only one frequency. And it's why it matches with all the other enlightened ones. Then we have the Holy Spirit, which I know some people have talked about as the feminine element, and I can understand that. But I relate to it differently because it's from that open heart. And we all know the story of Jesus, like we know the one of Buddha. So those are pretty straightforward too. But Buddha comes in where I didn't read the book, because as I'm reading the first paragraph, he leaves a town that he was a prince of because he can't handle seeing the suffering. And I'm like, but you could have saved the town. Like, why would you leave? And I'm thinking of Jesus, how he suffered. So I'm like, I'll read it later. So back to the other story that now I completely lost my train of thought on. As I was trying to give you a really good example of walking a walk and talking a talk. But since I did lose it, we're going to have to leave it alone. That's funny. It happens every now and then. I leave you hanging with stuff. The part about likes and dislikes, I got it back. Yeah, there you go. See, it happens. And so with that being said, when people have a charge, so when I like or don't like something, if someone presents it to me, I'm open to hearing because I want to converse. I'm not in it for proving anything. So the book on societal culture is really great. When I said so nothing is real, it's because I know how it works, creating society and all that. I mean, do you know where your water comes from? I forgot that it comes from a bunch of places. Okay, so you get so familiar with things that you forget where it actually originates, which is why I appreciate the scientists, people like Neil deGrasse. Doesn't matter if they take us seriously or not, the mystic spiritual stuff, they're great to have because they explain the cosmos. Amazing. Oh, I love that man. He's so teacher-like. Like he teaches so many good things. So when you know cosmic karmic balancing, and by the way, I don't have to do anything. That's why, unlike the whole story again of having to sit under the tree to be, I be and do because I can do and be. But inside here, I'm meditative because I'm at ease. with my ventral vagal state. My entire child parts are all here. My grown-up is here again, and I'm in a prefrontal, and with Maria comes faith, because that's how I was raised. If you're curious about my story, a little bit of it, The Ways to God is a book that I'm a co-author of, and the chapter that I wrote is God is Discerning, Equanimous Love. So I tell you in about 14 pages a little bit of things that took place and when I opened up to Claire's, and I, to this day, enjoyed all of my Christian Catholic upbringing. It makes me sad that I know that they won't welcome us all, but I understand, as the person looking me in the eye said, well, I don't get believed in when I talk about demonic possession. So, you know, you're going to have to just allow yourself to accept that you're rejected. That's when someone has a pebble in their shoe and they're not really doing anything that is personal with Maria, because Maria doesn't take it personally. They're upset because they got rejected. And now that somebody is going through what they went through, sweet revenge is mine. It's on the other end of the coin. You see how petty the energy is? I love the person to death. There's nothing wrong with the human being. The energy is petty. It's a teenager who doesn't know that spiteful little tone, or whatever you want to call it. It really doesn't mean much, except for one thing. You didn't forgive the people who judged you yet, and you still don't believe in science that explains there's no demons, which doesn't go against you believing in God or in your faith. It simply goes into the stop dehumanizing people and have science explain to you how their embodied brain works. That's all this is. So you're not wanting an explanation because you want to continue to use words from a book of yesterday to what? Prove what? You're not proving faith through the book. This is exactly why I asked them the questions I did, because decentralizing the self and explaining how the brain works doesn't go against any of what, none of. The kingdom of God is within you. Restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating people. When decentralizing of the self and it goes well, they expand and they grow beautiful and amazing. So why are you denying something that shows your body's already healing? It's explaining it. You don't like the explanation. May your decisions be based upon what truly matters and works, not upon likes or dislikes. And also another lovely Sadhguru quote, one thing every human being can strive for is to leave this world a little bit better than it was when you entered it. And you're not going to leave the world a little bit better if you want to keep on weighing things down with the 3D frequency, because you don't know how to forgive, because you don't know how to process that which is upset. And then you don't know how to process that which is basically your own biases of likes or dislikes and whatever it is you would have wanted or what you would want to see happen. So when a 3-year-old is in the room, when they're all a bunch of grown-ups, they just want to decide how things should go down, which is why they're also uninteresting on a strategical level and societal level. So the part about this book, I'm looking for another quote from Sadhguru. This one's a good one that he has. Let's see if I can find it though, since I have a lot of notes. This one. It is the ability to bring out the best in others that makes you a leader. And as he also says, if you are a piece of creation, the creator is definitely embedded within you. You just have to turn inward to know. So when people, though, don't turn inward with their entirety, they're going to continue turning inward to a body that is in protective mode, which is why they don't know forgiveness. They harbor resentment. Then they have this little bit of a teenager spiteful attitude. And I call it teenager because that's the only time I played with my mouth once. That was it. I did it on purpose. I know I hurt your feelings. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. I can see that I did. I can feel it here. And then I said, I'm sorry, God. I won't do it again. That was pretty shitty, because also that's a coward's game, you see? Like, that's exactly how it feels if you're trying to poke at someone. Coward, you don't know how to have a conversation. For somebody who's whole, that is. For somebody who doesn't know this, as I talked to another friend of mine about revenge, and they're telling me about why they had sweet revenge and how empowering it is, and I know their story, and I know that that's their strongest weapon, because they were not treated in a way that allows themselves to even remotely feel lovable. The sad part is they got a double layer going on, and inside is a small little kid that's crying and whimpering in a corner, and that just breaks my heart. So that's it's very sad. A spiritual master or a guru does not judge somebody based on what he is right now. A guru will look at what kind of potential each disciple carries and see how to bring it to fruition. He will not neglect anyone just because he does not have the necessary capability right now. He, she, they. Human is not a resource. A human being is a tremendous possibility. With the right nurturing, they will blossom into someone remarkable. And also said Guru, God, good, not God. Good intentions are not enough. It takes the right action performed with the right consciousness to produce the necessary results. He also shares one on God, which I already had known from my lovely Christian Catholic upbringing. Your life is your making. God does not interfere with it. In fact, Enoch has God promised not to flood the earth again. Someone was talking to us about the fire season or whatever, but meantime, I like Dan Martell. He's a successful business owner of some sort. I can't pinpoint, I think, coaching and more, but as he points out, the person you will be in 5 years depends largely on, one, it's today, the books you read, the people you spend time with, the food you eat, the habits you adopt, conversations you engage with. Every choice, every step is towards your future, and so live with intent. And in fact, when you do understand that this is what it is, addictions have consequences but feel good. We also have addictions are those behaviors that are maladaptive responses to unresolved trauma. So when people are suffering inside, a fool with a tool is still a fool. A fool on a fool's journey gets to continue to expand when they're doing Dharma, because you get to the end, the world, and then you keep moving forward. That's with open-ended inquiry when you are sad or mad or afraid or surprised or happy or disgusted with that which is going on out in the world. So it forces you to develop strength, courage, curiosity. That's good resilience, but that's because you know how to wield your inner world. So you're stronger than your dysfunctional patterns, being stronger than any kind of dysfunction, and then being at that body connected is very important. Bessel van der Kolk, trauma is not a story of something that happened in the past. Trauma is the imprint that all experiences leave on your soul and your body as your sensations, which is why 3D, 4D, and all those who don't want to heal will find a home somewhere else. But it won't be with those of us who do ventral energy because they don't want it. The highest level of spirituality is you being your real self in love and life. That's from me to you. And so with this book, the way that they showed that society builds a culture is there's a man on an island, he develops a routine, and he's, washing his feet every day. And then there's some new people on this island, and they see him doing this feet washing every day, and they're like, what is he doing? And the council gets together, and they make up why this guy is washing his feet every day. And I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because that's our cave people. What do you think? Do you know why we started to clap together and dance? It was to make ourselves bigger so that we could keep animals away. It's really nice for me to bring in these data points, tell you I fuck it up and forget it, but this is the truth. So the truth is with science, not against it. And the ones who prefer to live their pseudo-aliveness and pretend to be bigger than they are, well, only those who have lost the need for security are truly secure. Thank you, said Guru. Body and mind are profoundly connected. When the body becomes still, the mind naturally follows. Yes, said Guru. That's an integrated brain, restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person right here in front of you. And if you're going to stick it through, then I'm going to assume you are on that path or there. Because the ones who want to be light and lightning don't like discernment, equanimity, or love, or to hear there's no evil, Knievel, medieval. There is a Michael Stone with his forensic criminologist scale, and the it's not 7 to 14. I always fuck that one up. It's 9 to 16 or something like that. They're not charming to any of those of us who are smart brains. They're just the ones who are going to keep the other ones who want pats on the back. So prophecies speak forth, mind and heart of God, to encourage, comfort, challenge, or strengthen outside of time, so can predict events future with visions and or dreams, divine revelations. I've had all of these, by the way. Miracles, I know of supernatural miracles. I also know free will. Like, I can explain it humanly speaking. Neuroscience, neurobiology. Number 1, get your body online, please. That's the most important part. The word of wisdom, diffuse conflict and provide clarity. Mindset is everything, so is belief. But this is the part of why it was fascinating as I continued moving through the ascension of Maria. As I had pinpointed that miracles are subjective, and like there's a lot of different stories I hear, and I wondered about things. So seeing source in others frees you from the curses, karma, chains of your ancestors, and all the transgenerational trauma charges that come with them through our consciousness. It doesn't free you up. Because if you're continuing to harbor resentment and a charge for that which happened to yesterday, and you're wanting to hold it over the head of someone because you're wanting punishment, you see, so when someone's seeking justice, and there is another one of lovely Sadhguru's quote, and this one's on, I believe it was rage. And this is why the baton, what I found out in my trauma courses is that the fourth step to healing trauma charges, people want bystanders to take their side and then go punish the side that they think is the wrong side. Okay, so enlightenment is not about light, it is about a vision beyond light and darkness. Thank you, Sadhguru. As he points out, to be able to shower affection on everyone without needing affection or attention yourself, that is freedom. That's a securely attached, non-traumatized 0-1-year-old person. So when you're equanimous, discerning, and loving, that's why your vehicle, which is what you're using, and which is what you would think people would understand that they would take care of, but they need their child parts. So somebody just eating healthy isn't going to be enough. I'm going to notice if you understand that all your brothers and sisters have the equal potential to become their best version. Just because they didn't choose to go to therapy right now doesn't mean they might not. Okay, so walking a walk, talking a talk, forgiving, humility, compassion. As for the entire human species, that's why we have people in certain positions. Now, they're not all emotionally mature, which is very much my concern personally. That's why humanities and social sciences, I know exactly what we're dealing with. And when I try to explain it to people, I say it's a lot more in depth than what you're talking about, like gossipers right now. Please get a rest. And then I actually try not to even bother chiming in. If you think you can half-heartedly love someone or love anything, and I didn't study on a whim. I liked what I was doing. I figured out eventually that I would help people differently, which is what I'm doing now. To be yourself the smart way, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, and to give 5D collective mystics and spiritual ones a place to have fun so that we can go tease our Pinocchio brothers and sisters and Peter Pans because they're sticking to their story and they're fun. We still find out a lot of things thanks to them, by the way. So we're all on the same page. I know that I've heard every single bit of what they have to say. I know that we're, where they say we are, because I already knew it, by the way, but I'm not going to make it that I'm the know-it-all, because I'm not. So if you, again, think you can love half-heartedly, nope. It is either 100% or 0, which is why you don't play with somebody's emotions. Love is not a game. That's death through parts, sickness and health, rich or poor, better for worse. You don't need somebody to wed you. I used to honor that which I was taught from my Christian Catholic upbringing. And then I found out a lot of other things. So polyamory, we're not whores or masochists, by the way. And those who are monoamory and securely attached, they know that. And those who are God's children also know that. Because, again, God is not about it being one gender, not gender, Akash, Source, Anima Mundi. It's all one and the same. So if you don't know how to understand that, I don't think you'd be here, by the way, because two sides of the brain. Love is freedom and joy. Attachment is bondage and misery. People have subjective opinions and subjective experiences. If you live without comparing yourself with anyone, you shall always be rich within yourself. But you are flawed and imperfect, because that's the part of where we are different. So the greatest gift you can give to another human being is to accept, respect, and love them. Sadhguru is amazing with his quotes. I love him. And he does miss on some things, unfortunately, but that's because he doesn't know the psych education. Love is a process of inclusion. Once I include you as a part of me, I will be to you just the way I am to myself. And actually, he mentions this, and it sounds like when Aristotle says you treat a friend like yourself. And there's also one on karma. Karma is the accumulation of past recordings that keep replaying. Yoga helps to transform your life from a replay into profound experience. I'm going to say EMDR, child parts work, somatics, because that way you can process the charges, you can own your sense of self, and then when your heart is full of joy, it does not occur to you to cause harm to anyone because you do not feel threatened by anything. Yes, because you learn how to navigate your ventral vagal state. And so you learn to create a climate that you want in your mind, emotions, and the body. Then your health, joy, and well-being, yes, they're taken care of. Thank you, Sadhguru. So it's yoga does ventral vagal portfolio of toning exercises. Meditation, the way that they do with yoga, helps integration. But if you don't take your child parts and make them whole, that's why it's different. I see a lot of spiritual bypassers because they are not really becoming the grown-up version. They're not processing. They like to talk about light and shadow and that there's two sides to you. There's not two sides. when you're a whole self who knows how to regulate your nervous system and have healthy anger, healthy fear, healthy sadness. This is the emotional intelligence. And the people that sell it like a skill, it's actually something that's more than a skill. It's that every day you get to enjoy that which is beautiful energy within you and outward. And life is involvement. Where there is no involvement, there's no life. And I can't find the one quote that I wanted, but basically it was something about rage and revenge, and how when you're doing something based on that, you're not going to actually get the opposite. And so people who carry the past of humanity wanting justice in a certain way, they want to punish. This is where I'm going to say that if you want everyone to fall in love with you, you must first fall in love with all of them. Well, that's where I wouldn't want everyone to have to fall in love, but he's trying to, again, make a point of how we can love each other. And that's for sure something that not all people want. As a bunch of people point out, you can't be happy all the time. Also, they have expectations. So when you have no expectations of what others should do, you will have a successful relationship. Thank you, said Guru. Do not think spirituality means being nice, quiet, having a nice, quiet life. It means being on fire. I'm still looking for it because I don't want to leave it alone. This one is one of my favorites. There are two kinds of people: those who make things happen and those who enjoy it when it happens well and complain when it does not, which is where the 4D and 3D are at. Every now and then they switch from one side to the next side. That's why we have someone who is spreading rumors about yoga, bringing demons out of them. Friendship is not just for companionship and comfort. It is a mirror to all that you are and all that you are not. And that's when they're empowered people, obviously. Propelled by rage, we substitute one injustice for another. Propelled by compassion, we do what is needed. I had to find it because otherwise I wouldn't have slept that night. Compassion, physiological state, integrated brains, restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating people. 5D mystics, spiritual, mindful, living, loving people, welcome aboard. We walk a walk and talk a talk. I do like Jesus taught me. Holy Spirit and God, and then Buddha, come on over. I know you sat under a tree, and we have our future Buddha coming in. And then there's a bunch of other scientists who are amazing, who are supporting anyone who wants to get themselves online. And that's why it's nice. So 3D, 4D, they don't want it, but that's not for us to say anything about. When somebody is holding on to the scarlet letter baggage, I just think you don't remember how it works. But it's okay because the planet's in Dharma. And emotionally intelligent people are bountiful, as are mentally intelligent ones. So we don't need to be too concerned, as we always have been evolving. Like the book, this societal culture book that I was talking to you about, we are now full of trending topics, and they all involve neuroscience, neurobiology, quantum physics, the mystic stuff with intuitive spirit. It's all here. And I knew it was here. So now we get to acclimate. The people who won't like it, they're pretty much kind of like the laggards. They're not going to do anything. And the ones who don't want to get their body online in the ventral vagal state, well, we can't make them. So it is what it is. And at the end of the day, again, walking a walk and talking a talk, it's for you. You're doing it solo self. Remember, we're selfish. Humans, they're always selfish. So when you are a person who knows that bonding is about two people and more, and that's why when you're differentiated, regulating yourself, you get to be in a room with a bunch of people and have a good time. No matter what the frequency is, yours doesn't go down because you're above the neutrality belt. And that's because you know that there isn't a word of justice and justice. There's unfair things that happen in the world. We are here to be the functional child adults that set the example of how to use our bodies with the ventral vagal state. So discerning, equanimous, and loving people, like the timbre of God's voice, and then like the angry Buddhists. I'm not a Buddhist though, but they know how to be in their restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating lives, and being yourself the smart way. That's why the diet, it is actually working, which is where I'm going to go eat food. And you have a wonderful evening wherever you're tuning in from, and subscribe, let other people know. There's also Spotify, subscribe to that so it can grow. And I have some plans, potentially a nice paid subscription for newsletters. I need to figure that one out, but something along those lines. I'm not going to reveal all of it because it's not planned yet. But we also have our patron membership for the 8th and 9th chakras. We're working on those ones too. So I didn't forget any of you who are regulars. I'm just organizing all of these pieces of amazing content that are going to come with our little group that's also going to get together to practice all the emotions and have fun together. Like, that's another thing that I have. So stay tuned, subscribe, and have a good one.